Good morning. It is 6:43. Welcome back to Great Day for this Tuesday, 15th of July. And normally this is the time when Ron the Car Guy pops up sitting next to us right here at the desk. But Ron the Car Guy's changed his name to Joe the Car Guy, or Joe the Other Car Guy.
The other
but
much
better looking.
Much better looking than Ron.
Younger, better looking.
Yeah.
That has to happen every once in a
Still
while.
has hope in his eyes.
We're trying to upgrade.
How about that? And he has the fancy new Westside Auto Pro shirt on.
Yes.
The guys are styling over there now, which is very cool. So what are we chatting about today, Joe the Car Guy?
We've got timing belts today.
Timing belts. Now, why should somebody care about a timing belt, and what is it?
Sure. The timing belt is the main driving belt in some vehicles. Some vehicles have timing chains, some vehicles have timing belts. If that breaks, if a timing belt were to break, that causes a catastrophic engine failure. So it's a routine maintenance at a larger interval, but just like changing a transmission fluid or an antifreeze or something
We're
along
talking
those
larger
lines.
interval. What type of larger interval are we talking?
They're up to 90 to 100,000 miles.
Oh,
There is
wow.
a time interval on it though, so I mean every 6 years it should be done because it's made of rubber which decomposes over time.
Sure.
So if you've got the 12-year-old car with 40,000 miles on it,
Now, how do I
still
know
needs
if
done.
my car has a timing belt or if it has a timing chain?
The easiest way is to either contact whoever does your service on the vehicle and ask them. It also will be in like your owner's manual, so you can reference that if you still got it in the glove box.
And how big of a process is it to change your timing belt?
It,
Because it looks like one little simple belt there. Then you just slide it off, slide it right back on.
Right. Yeah, this is the deceiving part of it because it actually sits behind a timing cover on the engine. So it's something that you have to go in, and it's pretty invasive to do.
Now, you mentioned it does a lot of things, and one simple device does a lot of things. Go through some of the components that it does power.
Yeah,
You
'cause
bet.
it's hooked to a whole bunch of different things, isn't it?
Yeah, and not to be too technical on terms, but would be like your crankshaft
Well, here,
pulley.
turn this more toward the camera so we
All
can
right.
see here. Try to see. You got it?
We've got the actual belt here. This is the hydraulic tensioner that makes sure that the belt has got tension on it and holds it into place.
Which are
it
not
turns-
cheap, by the way.
Oh.
Correct.
Yeah.
It turns the water pump itself, and then there's a couple other pulleys that just guide it and keep it in the right location.
So of those gears, which one actually drives the whole thing?
This is the main crank gear or the
Okay.
cam gear, so this is actually what's turning the crankshaft in the engine.
Okay, gotcha. So the crankshaft turns, makes this thing turn, and
Yeah, and if
Okay.
any of these, what we do is we replace it in a kit. And we've had people call and say, well, I can get that done for $500 less somewhere. Well, the problem that we've run into is somebody will just replace the belt.
sure.
Well, all of these components have got the same amount of mileage, same amount of years on them, and we've had people replace just the belt, and then this tensioner will stop working. It still runs your engine. So we buy a kit that's got all of these components in it and replace them all at once so that it's done right the first time.
Is this the thing that if you buy a car that has high miles, maybe over 90, 100,000 miles, is this one of the first things you'd want to have checked out? Maybe,
Absolutely.
Maybe somebody hasn't replaced this.
Yeah, and the easiest way for somebody to check and see if it hasn't been done is you should replace accessory belts like your serpentine belt that runs your AC and that at the same time.
Oh, really?
So if we look at your vehicle and we see those belts haven't been changed, there's a pretty good chance you didn't bother to change the timing belt either.
Okay.
And this is a routine checkup, basically, with your vehicle when you get an oil change, correct?
Somewhat, yeah. Because we'll check the accessory belts. This one's hidden behind, in the engine, so you can't physically look at that.
This isn't a check for if you go get a quick lube or whatever. They won't check this
That's a
one.
different belt
Yeah, it's
they're
totally
looking at.
different.
Correct.
They're looking at the one that runs the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, if someone's
okay.
sitting at home stuffing Captain Crunch in their mouth and thinking, boy, I should go out in the garage and look at this, what would they look for, as a layman that might think, oh, this thing's looking kind of old here?
Unfortunately, this is one of those things you're going to pop the hood and go, I have no idea what Joe's even talking about, because
Okay.
it's not visual. It's one of those things that it's blind to the naked eye,
When you look
but
at
it can cause
when
a
you
huge
look
problem.
at the motor, it looks like part of the motor.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can't see it. It's covered. The cover is attached to the front.
So the belt that you see is the serpentine belt
Right,
that's in
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
So how do we know if this is okay or not?
There are timing belt inspections that we can do. Most places do them relatively inexpensive, depending on, where the belt's located at. Sometimes you can just pull an access cover off and you can physically look at it. Sometimes there's a little bit more labor involved. To
Now, are
actually
there
get
any
in there and see
signs
it.
that your timing belt might be, going southward?
Sometimes if one of these start to get dry, you'll start to hear a little bit of a noise, but it's usually one of those things that if you hear it, it's too late, or something's going to happen soon, so stop.
And why is it called the timing belt?
The timing belt actually keeps the engine in time.
Okay.
Everything's got to be in perfect harmony, or it's going to be running real poorly.
Keeps everything moving together.
Yes.
The valves have to operate in proper sequence and perfect timing.
Now, when I hear something that sounds like a belt going bad, I just open the hood and spray fan belt dressing just everywhere, and then close
It usually
the hood.
works, doesn't it?
Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
It makes the noise go away for a while. It's probably not a good idea.
It's not the ideal setup,
No.
but I suppose it'll get rid of an annoying noise for a couple minutes.
Before you sell your car, yeah.
Wow. So if you're watching this and you're like, wow, I do have a used vehicle, didn't even realize this existed because I don't see it. It's one of those things, you know, you don't see it, you don't know it exists. Should I be making an appointment really as soon as I possibly can to get this checked out, or what's the urge here?
Call me or call whoever that you have work on your vehicles and say, hey, I've got a 2000 Honda Accord. Does this have a timing belt? Because if you take it in for an appointment for a timing belt and it's got a chain, chains you do not have to change unless there is an issue. There's no service interval on an actual chain.
Nice. Good to know. Just staying educated about your vehicle.
Yeah, or even knowing where you got your car from initially. If you contact the place where you got your car from, you can say, hey, I bought this car from you. Does it have a belt or a chain? And when's the last time if it was a belt? When's the last time it was changed?
Yep, absolutely. That'd be great information to have.
Right. Now, speaking of information, can we get some more information on where to find Westside Auto Pros?
You bet. You can find us at www.westsideautopros.com, or you can call us at 225-9090.
Nice.
Well, folks, ladies and gentlemen, Joe, the car guy. And for Ron, it is 10 minutes before 7 o'clock right now. So you're going to be our Vanna White at Zubru now since Ron's gone?
I don't know if he'll be back or not, but otherwise I am.
Okay. You're there? Okay, now wear the blue dress this time.
The blue one? That'll work.
So, matches
It's really,
your shirt.
really
Excellent.
stunning. Really stunning.
We'll be right back.